This is because after the rush of orgasm, dopamine levels drop below baseline, similar to what happens during withdrawal from drug abuse. Good afternoon, good evening, gentlemen, wherever you are. Today I have a phenomenal video regarding the impairment imposed by the act of masturbation and the consumption of pornography use. Now today we're going to get right into it. There are three main pillars of this video. The first is going to be tackling the influence the aforementioned things have on mental health and the human brain computation. The second pillar is going to be its influence on the biological male hormone testosterone. And finally, we will delve into the miscellaneous aspects that come into play. Without further ado, we'll give our thanks as always to Throwaway. I'm glad you didn't throw this away today, my friend, because this is a phenomenal post that I believe is going to be very, very valuable for the individuals on this channel and all over the world, and of course on Reddit as well. So let's begin with part one, the influence on mental health and the human brain. Masturbation is associated with lower psychological health and reproductive well-being. I probably should have prefaced this by saying that every single point in this post is backed up with scientific, ratified, empirical data to the claim, making it very, very compelling and why you should be paying attention and also taking action on the claims here. So this particular study took 143 university students and divided them into groups based on their frequency of masturbation. Be interesting to see how you'd measure that. Upon analysis, it was found that a higher frequency of masturbation correlated with negative symptoms such as fatigue, anxiety, memory decline, immunity decline, weakness, and so on. So there is an excerpt cut directly from this study, and of course you can go through this at your own leisure. Floating anxiety, somatic, and hysteric scores were significantly associated with masturbation, with higher scores in groups with the highest masturbation frequency. Masturbation is significantly associated with fatigue, soreness, and weakness of the lumbar regions, memory decline, immunity decline, insomnia, dreaminess, and gradual increase of frequency of masturbation, and the rates of most of the reproduction-related symptoms increased accompanying the increase of the masturbation frequency. It was concluded that masturbation may adversely affect psychological health as well as reproductive well-being. Gentlemen, I have made this point many times. It should come as no surprise to you that ejaculation is, of course, for procreation, for reproduction, for replication. But in order for you to replicate another human being, you need to have the resources in order to get that outcome. So the next question naturally becomes, where does one find the resources in order to make and create another human being? Well, the obvious answer might be the body itself. You have a unique reference point, a schema, as it were, to have the building blocks for your offspring. Replacing sexual fluid is as simple as taking small elements from all over the body and whittling them down into something that can penetrate and fertilize the female human egg. Meaning it will take resources from your brain, it will take resources from your flesh, from your muscles, from your bones, from your blood. It doesn't take someone of particularly sharp wit to realize that the frequency in which you waste this fluid without the purpose of procreation, reproduction, and replication is the same frequency in which you tax your brain, you tax your muscles, you tax your blood, you tax your organs. Certainly something to meditate on. Let's segue into the second point our brother here shares, which is watching porn reduces gray matter in the prefrontal cortex, which is the decision and rational part of your mind, and functional connectivity between the right and left dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. Higher pornography use correlates with lower gray matter amount in the dorsal striatum, which is a region related to sexual arousal and also motivation. And generally, less gray matter also affects one's cognitive function and control over fine motor skills, these very delicate and finely tuned movements in your fingers and in your hands also. Direct quote from this study here: we found a significant negative association between reported consumption of pornography hours per week and gray matter volume in the right caudate. Functional connectivity of the right caudate to the left dorsolateral prefrontal cortex was negatively associated with hours of pornography consumption. It has a visceral, a tangible effect on the physical parts of your brain. I think I mentioned physical twice, but I have to emphasize that this has changes that you can measure scientifically. And here's the proof right here. Let's move on to the pornography consumption and its association with mental health issues. I don't think that this will be a difficult line to draw the comparison between. This article mentions multiple priorly completed studies which determined pornography consumption may lead to diminished mental health, depressive symptoms, lower health, poorer quality of life, and that pornography in general, in itself, may alter one's mental, emotional, and social traits. So the way that you interact with other people. More direct quotes here: pornography and sexually explicit content can be found in all types of media, especially on your soft core porn media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Get rid of it. It may alter the user's mental and emotional and social traits. In a study of adults, depressive symptoms were associated with the use of sexually explicit material online, both among men and women. In the same study, consumers of such material had almost 6 times higher odds for diminished mental health. 6 times. Over 8 times higher odds for lower health status, and over 5 times higher odds for poorer quality of life comparatively with controls. Twice as many 10 to 17-year-old online seekers of pornography reported clinical features of major depression compared to their peers. You have to get to a point where you hate it. You have to get to a point where you recognize you're not giving anything up. If I told you I was giving up poisoning myself every single day, you tell me, Joseph, what are you talking about? You're giving up poisoning yourself every single day. Poison poisons you. It hurts you. It harms you. It diminishes your health. You're not giving it up. You're letting it go. You're getting rid of it. You're kicking it out of your life. Here is the reframing that you need to marry yourself to. You're not giving it up, you're kicking it out like poison. Porn addiction shares similar mechanisms to substance addiction. It is determined that porn addiction shares similar mechanisms to that of substance addiction, thus also involving the symptoms of addiction that occur due to man's reward circuitry being abused, your reward systems, your dopaminergic pathways. Many recognize that several behaviors potentially affecting the reward circuitry in human brains lead to a loss of control and other symptoms of addiction in at least some individuals. Regarding internet addiction, neuroscientific research supports the assumption that underlying neural processes are similar to substance addiction. I have made the analogy many times before that porn addicts are synonymous or share traits with drug addicts, with people that you see on the street homeless begging you for a crack pipe. And once you get rid of it in your life, it will make no sense to go back because you will see everybody else using it as that crack smoker. And here's the evidence here. It's decrease in dopaminergic levels upon one's orgasm. One's dopamine levels drop below baseline, requiring a period of time to recover to baseline, and one's level of prolactin surge greatly, lasting for lengths of time. High prolactin levels are correlated with lower testosterone levels. This is because after the rush of orgasm, dopamine levels drop below baseline, similar to what happens during withdrawal from drug abuse. Low dopaminergic levels are associated with depression, low energy, lack of ambition, social anxiety, among others. Daly and his colleagues, 2004. We're only through the first pillar here. The effects that pornography consumption and masturbation have on the influence of mental health and the human brain, which is significant, which is palpable, which is tangible. Here's the evidence. You can't get clearer on this. And I think this is the rationalization. This is the compelling piece of information you need today to kick it out. You're not giving it up. You're getting rid of a poison, of a tick that is pouring blood into your veins, pouring poison into your blood, pardon me, and is spoiling you and making you toxic from the inside out. What I'm going to do, gentlemen, is because I don't want to make these videos too long, I will drop part 2. If you want part 2, let me know in the comment section below if you want me to review what happens to the influence of testosterone when you mitigate the presence of masturbation and pornography consumption in your life. These are not theories, gentlemen. These are cold, hard, scientific facts. Speak soon.